Is your business considering installing a solar energy system and exporting energy back to the grid? Did you know you could be hit with an unexpected sales tax charge? In this video, we break down how this works, who it affects, and how to claim an exemption. Don't let this catch you off guard. First of all, a quick disclaimer. We're not tax accountants and don't provide tax advice. This is for informational purposes only. So Dale, solar systems, they generate electricity. Is that generation a tax-exempt process?
I'll answer it like accountants answer it. It depends.
Okay, yep.
So, and we're going to talk about Pennsylvania today.
Yeah.
There's other states that we operate in. Some states don't have any sales tax at all on solar, have exemptions. Some states don't have sales taxes. So Pennsylvania does.
Yeah.
And Pennsylvania has this unique situation that's going on right now in the state where you can install up to a 3 megawatt system, export back to the grid, and you get paid price to compare, even if you don't have a load.
Right.
And this is happening.
Right.
People are installing these up to 3 megawatt systems. Now this is the interesting part. Installing a solar system is a contract. It's a construction contract.
Right.
So the issue revolves around sales tax on the hardware piece. On a solar system, hardware is typically 50%, right around.
Right.
So let's say Pennsylvania sales tax is 6%. If you install say a 3 megawatt system, you're talking about $5 million.
Right.
$5 million, 6% on that, on half of that would be what, 150,000?
Right.
It's a significant chunk of change. If you can avoid that, you should.
Absolutely.
And it's even happening, Warren, on commercial systems where people are just sizing the systems bigger and exporting back to the grid. Pennsylvania has this sales tax exemption called, it's for mining, manufacturing, and farming.
Right.
Okay. And basically what it's saying is if you buy equipment that is directly used, they define that interestingly, directly used in any of those practices, it is tax exempt. Now I didn't have a solar background, I came from mining. So
right.
I was familiar with this. We work with this all the time with mining and with manufacturing. The question around solar is, what is it?
Right.
Clearly it's not mining.
Right.
Farming, maybe,
yep.
if it's being installed on a farm.
Right.
Manufacturing, I don't know about that. Well, if you're exporting to the grid, it's clearly not farming.
Right.
If you're exporting to the grid, the question was, is it manufacturing?
Right.
Are you manufacturing something? There was a case back in 2010 that went to the courts, and the courts ruled that it is indeed manufacturing.
Okay.
So that's the key, that's the clause. So if you're going to install a system and you're going to export to the grid, the hardware that's used to build that system is technically tax exempt. And it's not terribly hard to claim. You have to have a form, REV 1220.
Okay.
It's a Pennsylvania sales tax form. And that has to be completed, given to somebody like us who's installing it. We then pass it on to our vendors and say the hardware we're buying for this project is tax exempt. And we can buy it tax exempt. So basically you're saving 3% on the cost of your system. That is not anything to just sneeze at.
And you can only do this when you're building the system. If you've already installed a system and it's up and running and you paid for it, you've probably paid the sales tax already.
That's correct. Yeah, you probably have. And you know, even if you're not exporting to the grid, if you're just building a system for your farm, something like that. If it's over 90%, you can get away with having it all exempt. Sometimes they get into prorating depending on if a significant piece is being used for a taxable purpose, as defined by them. But it's something you should look into, because if you can avoid 6% on a piece of the system, that's savings.
Absolutely, savings right up front.
Yes. As far as other states, Warren, I don't know. Maryland, they have a sales tax exemption for solar systems.
Right.
So there you don't have to pay it, but they don't have the net metering setup that's fueling these up to 3 megawatt systems in Pennsylvania.
Right.
Okay, so Pennsylvania is kind of unique to that. In Delaware has no sales tax. New Jersey has a sales tax, but they have an exemption for solar. New York has exemption for solar. And Ohio has a 5.75 state sales tax, and they also have some local sales taxes, but they're also waived on solar hardware. So Pennsylvania is where this is an issue. And most accountants are familiar with it.
Yeah.
They're familiar with sales tax exemption. It's used all the time for mining, manufacturing companies, and farming. And the key around this electricity generation is that it is considered indeed manufacturing.
If you live in Pennsylvania and are installing a solar system where the predominant use of the electricity is for farming, manufacturing, or mining, or if you're installing a system for exporting electricity to the grid, you likely qualify for a 6% discount on your hardware. Check with your accountant, fill out Form 1220 if you qualify, and give it to your installer and save some costs today. And keep in mind that Pennsylvania sales tax on construction contracts is kind of a hidden cost in a construction contract. It applies to hardware that the installer buys, so it's not itemized. If you found this information helpful, don't stop here. Click like, subscribe, and continue your journey by exploring the playlist on your screen for more expert insights on commercial solar. We've got everything you need to stay ahead and maximize your solar investment.